some ideas and some of the things that we constructed over there until she enters the room. Is that okay with everybody? Just a quick sec. So I'm going to show just hackathons. We decided to convoke a challenge for the hackathon in the Philippines. So the hackathon in the Philippines, the Blue Hacks, was an amazing event, and it was focused also on how we can use AI and data to natural disasters, which is something really groundbreaking. So we made up a challenge for the hackathon. I'm going to show you the challenge just so you can grasp on how biodiversity data can be used to so many things. And one of the things is to detecting natural disasters. I'm gonna share my screen just for 5 minutes. Is the time that the team enters here, and then we have our agroforest session. Okay. So just let me just put in full screen here. Sorry. Okay. So what we try to do is to understand, for example, since there's a situation that's been bugging the mind of scientists for a long time, is that people since the ancient Greeks have been using biodiversity as natural disasters indicators. But we always been using as in a traditional sense way. We never actually systematized or used the data in a technological way to predict it. But and this is something that is quite needed and potentially groundbreaking because warning systems cost millions of dollars to maintain. For example, just the Indian warning system costs 150 million by year. And it actually doesn't reach the local communities, only reach the big cities. So there's some cities in India that created some natural warning systems just based on the animals, just like the state of Assam in India. But there's also several other examples, like in Mount Etna in Italy, they're using goats to detect earthquakes. And China has a really government program with animals to detect early warning systems. They use snakes because there's a saying over there that when an earthquake is about to occur, snakes will move out of their nest, even in the cold winter. So they have a lot of those studies showing how animals can act as early warning systems. We have that so much that people starting to see that when birds have their migration patterns, birds can detect tropical storms 800 kilometers before the storm even begins. So how do they do that? So now people are starting to research this, how those biodiversity indicators such as birds, such as mammals, such as fish, can be used to early warning systems. Two of the endeavors, one is Icarus, is actually researching this. Icarus is monitoring a whole lot of animals around the globe and their movements, their pattern migrations. They have a whole lot of database. And also Kivikwaka. Kivikwaka is doing this with five species of birds in the Pacific. They study how they can predict the overturning of the routes based on cyclones. So I proposed this challenge on the Blue Hacks. How can we use the existing biodiversity data to create models for animals' early warning systems for natural disasters? Can you see that I'm not advocating for actually collecting more data? I'm advocating as a challenge for, we already have the databases. We've been actually monitoring this for a long time. How can we use these databases to make more sense of it? So I'm just going, there's 5 scenarios. I'm going to really quick on that. Is one scenario that I challenge is to use Icari Move Bank databases. They have these huge databases of movement and pattern animals. And for us to find known disaster areas and known times of disasters, and we see if we can detect with a model if there's a changing patterns before the disaster in the movement of those animals. This is just some examples of things that never been done, but just to spark the mind. So, and this model should be taught to detect irregular patterns in such places. Just one scenario, just one example to freshen the mind. The scenario two is that we have a lot of audio recording database in the world. We could use, and they have in bird sound, bird nets, canto, worldwide soundscapes. We could search in these databases and see for the same perspective. See based on natural disaster occurrence places and times if we can see a difference in pattern on these recordings. One tip would be to use long-term government monitoring programs. Like California has a huge program on bird burst monitoring, and is also terrain of earthquakes, so that should be a good start to understand this. Scenario three is exactly the same as two, but is with mammals and aquatic mammals. So how the patterns of migrations can be changed to actually avoid cyclones, typhoons, and things like that. And you can see here, this is actually the movement of aquatic animals in the world. And to see if you can see changing patterns to try to deviate, because we see the birds do that, and we see the mammals do that also, but we don't see a systematic. We have the data, we just don't know how to extract meaning of the data. And scenario four is actually using data on migrations, because we have a lot of those data. Just Birdcast has a migration dashboard when actually explain when each bird is actually going up, going down, when it's actually, so they have the database on their movements. How can hackers not like codes and programmers can use this data to extract meaning? And the last one is I haven't actually thought of a solution on that, but we have a really huge database on camera traps photos. And we have studies indicating that 23 days before the earthquake, the animals start passing in front of the camera trap. Not because of the camera trap itself, but the pattern movements change. So how can we use this huge database on our camera traps also? And knowing that this happened, how can we extract meaning to act as a model to detect this change of patterns? So we can make a prototype on how animals can detect early warning systems of natural disasters. This is, I'm just explaining this to you just so you can get an overview of how we're acting in some other places and how was our role in Blue Hacks. I see the Fatine is already here, so I'm gonna pass it out to her. Thanks so much for your attention. I'm gonna be here.
Thank you, Gabriel. So just a little bit of update. I think Gabriel had mentioned that you were part of Blue Hacks. So we sponsored this event, which is a hackathon in the Philippines, and this is our first time of doing so. It's really quite interesting, and we also offered them to use the data that is available on the Green Book. Right. So for today's session, we're gonna be hearing three speakers today because some of you have mentioned that you want to learn about other projects, other organizations, given that we are from different countries, different regions. So today I'm gonna start with Sakwa from Bees and Trees. So Sakwa, you have around 8 maximum 10 minutes to kind of like present or share a little bit about what Bees and Trees are doing in Uganda.
Thank you so much, Fatin. Please confirm if you can see my screen.
Yes.
Awesome. So thank you so much for this opportunity to share with the community about our agroforestry work. It's a real honor. So Bees and Trees is a youth-led social enterprise that is motivating farmers to reintegrate trees into their farms by use of incentives. We founded Bees and Trees when we were master's students in 2022. And this is my colleague Samantha, who is not here today. But there is also some members of our team that have also joined the call, like Connie, Olive, and Simon, who was previously with us, now with the Climatica Foundation. So I'll dive right into the problem. I always say this picture speaks a lot because what you see right here, agricultural fields, people have cut down trees. They cut down trees in order to grow food, and especially coffee is a main crop in this area. So when you look at this hill, the other side is in the national park, and right here is the boundary. This is the community side, and what you see here is a landslide. I always say agriculture is not the only driver of landslides. We can talk about many factors at play, but then you look at this side of the hill getting a landslide, and the other side, which has trees, is not affected. And I'm not saying landslides don't happen in protected areas, but again, this picture speaks a lot. So farmers in this area initially were worried about trees because they believed trees are competitors to their crops, and that some of them are alternative hosts to pests and diseases which affect the crops, especially coffee. So they thought it's a good idea to cut down the trees. And this led to a lot of issues. We took this picture as a snapshot from our documentary by DWTV. This is one home devastated by a landslide, but this is just a portion of it. We have lost over 1,000 people in this region as a result of landslides. But that is not the only problem. You have biodiversity that you're losing. You have a lot of climate disasters that are exacerbated because of deforestation and because of the people depending mainly on agriculture, and a lot of other issues that come with deforestation. And seeing this, we sought a solution. But before we came up with this solution, you'll realize that when I get to challenges, there are not a lot of challenges because we had to take time and think. We started a model of bees and trees, whereby we give modern beehives to the farmers, which they like so much, by the way, and then coffee seedlings, and then we train them about what the bees and coffee needs to do well. And that's where we come with the idea of trees. So that motivates them to plant coffee shade trees, but also bee forage species. But this time we train them on proper agroforestry principles in terms of spacing the trees and ensuring that there is optimal area for the crops also to grow. So after that, of course, the farmers started producing honey, they started growing coffee. Of course, it's a coffee growing area, but new ones also came in. And what we decided was to register as a social enterprise. So what we do now is that when they produce the honey, they produce the coffee, we buy it from them, we add value and sell to end consumers. So that's our revenue and sustainability model. And when we make some profits, we take back a percentage to scale and replicate these interventions. So we see that the income that comes from the honey and coffee sales enables farmers to have an alternative source of livelihood and not only depend on the food crops that they grow, because that's also very vulnerable when it comes to climate change disasters. So our approach is really contributing to many things. We're planting trees, that's a lot of mitigation. Alternative livelihoods are contributing to climate change adaptation. We are creating habitats for pollinators and a lot of other benefits that you can think about when it comes to restoring land and restoring ecosystems. So these are some of the pictures. This is Martin, one of our coffee agroforestry farmers, and another farm also that we are restoring with a women's group. And I would also like to touch a bit about the challenges. Like I said earlier, the challenges are not so many because we took time to study and see what the farmers would appreciate. For example, what kind of tree species do they recommend before you impose the species on them? So it was a whole process of co-creating what the farmers like. The size of their land was a consideration, but also incentives, because a lot of projects have happened time immemorial, but in most cases they only focus, for example, on tree planting. They do environmental education, but then there are no incentives for the farmers. Another thing I forgot to mention is that when we are purchasing the coffee and honey from them, especially coffee, we give them premium prices. If the coffee is grown under an agroforestry system, we give them a premium price. So that also gives an incentive and a tangible benefit that they can see in order to continue practicing agroforestry on their farms. So one of the challenges we face is the pieces of land. They are really small. When I look at one of the areas like Bududa, on average, you find like half an acre or an acre as the biggest someone can own at a go. Most cases half an acre. So it really limits the variety of species that you can plant with the farmers. So in most cases, preference is given to small tree species, for example, Caliandra, and also because it has other benefits like fodder, it fixes nitrogen, and it doesn't take a lot of space that would be occupied by the crops. So we still, while we plant these small species that are most preferred by the farmers, we are also aware that there needs to be a variety. So we managed to convince the farmers that we can also add a few big trees, in most cases at the boundaries, and we ensure that these ones also have benefits, for example, fruits that the farmers can appreciate and take on in an agroforestry system. Yeah, so that said,
Okay. Thank you so much, Sakwa. I think Annette has a question, but because we have two other speakers, I think we can leave the question at the very end. So if you have any questions, please write them down on in the chat box, and then we can address it later. So Sakwa, if someone would like to reach out to you, how can they reach out to you?
yeah, so I'll put my email in the chat and
Right.
also my LinkedIn.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sakwa, for sharing such a great initiative. Now we will move on to our next project. And then I will invite Darukaa Earth, Jaya from Darukaa Earth from India to give a 8-minute presentation, maximum 10. Jaya, to you.
Yes, I'll try to. Hi everyone. So let me just share my screen. I hope it's visible to you.
Yes.
So I'll start out by introducing Darukaa Earth. So Darukaa Earth is more of a climate tech company. We work on the technology and sort of to monitor and quantify biodiversity as well as carbon outcomes. And we've partnered up with this NGO, on-ground NGO called South Asian Forum on Environment. So for this project, which is in the Sundarbans mangroves of India, so it is known to be the world's largest mangrove forest. So here, the last time I remember speaking here, I spoke more on the technical aspect about deploying the audio devices and processing the data and species identification. Along with those, we also sort of to bring co-benefits to the local community there. We also have capacity building in terms of regenerative agriculture. So I'll just walk you through that. So the challenges that we faced were firstly the cultural and traditional practices. So Sundarbans being a mangrove area, the most of the population there depended on fishing. But since the mangroves have been degrading there, people have been, it is difficult for them to actually rely on solely fishing. So to sort of introduce a new way of living, we did receive a resistance to that, and also it is a very remote area. I remember when we visited the site, it took us almost 3 hours on a boat ride. So getting new resources there or is very difficult. So that was one more challenge, and the trust building was a major aspect of it. So how did we solve for this was we had to co-design the approach with the local community. So I'll just show you a picture here. So if you see this, so this is like a float farming platform that we had co-built with the local community, and there were no high-tech resources or materials used. It was just built from bamboos and so sort of like empty floats. So and we had to introduce a holistic approach to the local community. Again, I'll go back to the same picture. So if you can see, so this allows them to have a crop yield on top, and in the lake, we can practice aquaculture as well. So this is a new approach that has been developed with the local community there. And also the most easiest way, or I would say the best way to reach out to the local community is to have a local leadership. So because there were a lot of barriers, a language barrier was one of them, and getting a local leadership on board with us really helped to ease out that. And also for the agricultural practices, one more thing that we had to keep in mind was the type of crop that the people are growing. So if you see here, this is a local variety of rice that is being farmed over there. Along with this, so this takes after the first, it allows a 2-time cutting, harvesting of the crop. So once the crop is harvested for the first time, we need immediately replant it. So that was when we introduced them to the float formation. And I remember a funny anecdote that our community partners had told us that the very first time we had them grow tomatoes on the float farms, and but there was no additional income or no profit that the local communities could enjoy, because they actually had eaten the tomatoes themselves. So we had to come up with new ideas. And what we then decided to tackle it with was to grow crops like which are useful, but that you cannot completely use everything for yourself. So we decided to have them grow crops like ginger and garlic. So they cannot completely use it for themselves, and plus the profit ratio for that is higher than normal vegetables. um, so I don't know how much I would be able to explain on agroforestry, because I'm more of a technical person, but this was all. And if you have any questions, I'm open to answer them.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jaya. So this was in Sundarban as well, right?
Yeah, it was in Sundarbans. So along with the mangroves reforestation, we have the local community come up with sort of like co-benefits for the projects. We have them strengthen it with regenerative agriculture.
Right. Okay, thank you so much, Jaya. If you have any questions for Sakor and also Jaya, please feel free to write on the chat box, or if we have extra time later, we could actually go through some of the questions for you as well. Right. Next, we will move to Simon, who was part of Bees and Trees before, but now Simon is more focused with the new organization, which is also in Uganda, which is Climatica Foundation. To you, Simon.
Thank you very much, Fatin. Hi, Gabi. How are you? Maybe just to mention, you see Gabi is smiling. He's my colleague. I serve with him on the Data Council. He represents South America, and I represent Africa. I see a number of people on call that I would want to say hello personally to each of them, but there are many. So I will just say hello to everyone. And maybe the other thing that you have noticed, Fatin, is that Ugandans love GainForest. On call, we are almost making 50% from Uganda. Bees and Trees is there, Climatica, we have, I've seen Y Lake. So I want to thank Ugandans, but also on the other side, I want to say hello and welcome my other colleagues from Climatica Foundation. I have Brian on call and also Rashida. At Climatica, I am a co-founder, and Rashida is also a co-founder. I think it's her first time to attend the community call. So you're welcome, Rashida and Brian. And initially, when Gabi contacted me about this presentation, I actually referred him to Bees and Trees to Bright. And then because I expected to be either traveling today or in the field. But today, this afternoon is when I confirmed to Fatin that I'll be presenting. So thank you, everyone. So allow me to share my screen. Are you able to see my screen?
I think you're sharing the call itself. You can share the slide. Okay, I think Simon is trying to. Okay, cool. Simon's back. But it's still the call, Simon. Do you need help? Do you want to send me the? Oh yeah, we can see it now. Oh, just now we can see it. Okay, if anyone has any questions right now to Jaya or Sakwa, feel free to ask while Simon is sorting out the share screen. Simon, do you want me to do my presentation first, or are you okay now? Okay, maybe I can quickly do my presentation first. Gabriel, can you share my screen? Sorry, I had a problem as well with my device, so that's why I couldn't enter the meeting just now. And Gabriel will help me with sharing the screen while Simon sort out the screen sharing. Gabriel, can you share screen of my slide, please? Okay, Simon is back. So let's go to Simon first. Right, to you, Simon.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this presentation I prepared today. We are Climatica Foundation, and we are a Ugandan-based non-profit organization. And our vision is to create a sustainable and resilient environment where people live in harmony with nature. So simply, it's a climate action organization. I must say, I am not a climate scientist, but I should say thank you to my friend. His on call is Bright, that has mentored me and a few other people. So that's how I come to be in the climate field. And as per now, I am now heading an organization as well. He has mentored me. So thank you, Bright. I'll go to the next slide. This is briefly what we do. Our programs: climate smart agriculture, tree growing, environmental and climate health education. We also do consultancy work about environment, but also other areas like market scans, business development. And this presentation does not have any pictures, but just words about the two agroforestry models that we use. We are a year old and we have not had a lot of interventions, but we have had interventions in eastern Uganda, and very recently we ventured into western Uganda in the Rwenzori region. And the two models that we use: one, the participatory conservation agroforestry, or PCA. That's what we implement in the Teso sub-region. And then the other one, the integrated agroforestry model in the Rwenzori sub-region. The participatory conservation model, what we basically do is we engage the community in the design of the agroforestry interventions. One of the challenges that we noticed is that in many communities, there are so many interventions to try to address the challenges that come with deforestation, that comes with the loss of livelihood as a result of climate change. And in trying to intervene, many organizations just impose. They come with already pre-designed interventions, to these farmers to try to address these challenges. But what you notice is that the farmers do not own it up because they don't feel it is theirs. So what we do is we make sure the farmers are involved from the beginning. We contact local leaders in the area, and then we introduce, of course, ourselves, and then we talk to them. We get a community mobilizer who mobilizes the farmers, and then we train them on the importance of trees and how they can integrate these trees on their land, on their gardens. And what we do is we provide them with the tree seedlings of their choice. Of course, we identify the tree seedlings that they can plant in their areas. Of course, those are the indigenous tree seedlings that exist in their areas. But also, we train them on the importance of these trees. Initially, you will realize that some of the challenges that farmers face in eastern region are the same challenges that farmers face in western region. So what we do is we encourage them to plant these trees, but also we ask them to integrate other crops apart from just trees, because as Bright earlier mentioned, one of the challenges that farmers face is not seeing the benefit, or there is no motivation for them to just keep trees. And you tell them that the tree is going to help you to make your soils better, it's going to help you to remove some carbon. They don't understand that language. They want to see something that they can relate with much better. So we give them the free tree seedlings, but then also for every 10 indigenous trees that we give them, we incorporate a fruit tree. For Eastern region, that's especially the Teso sub-region, we include one orange tree because it does well in that area. And then the other model that we very recently tested in the Rwenzori sub-region, we have partners that we are working with. This is predominantly a coffee growing area, and the challenges that Bright from Bees and Trees talked about in the Rwenzori, in the Bududa area and the Elgon sub-region, they are similar to the challenges that are faced in this area. So we are working with the people that are coffee experts. I must say we are not coffee experts. So we are working with the Chagalanyi and the Rainforest Alliance. They have been advising farmers in this area. So farmers have, of course, cut down the trees because they have small pieces of land, and they are trying to motivate them to integrate other income generating activities on their farms apart from just coffee. So we are providing them with seedlings, but also we're trying to engage in other activities like asking them to incorporate vanilla and some other small animals that can benefit from the farm. Recently, I visited a few farmers, and they are telling me they would want to introduce rabbits and guinea pigs in their farms, because you realize when you have only coffee and then maybe there's a lot of drought that comes and you're only relying on coffee, then it's going to be disastrous for you because you will not be able to sell the coffee and maybe get school fees for your children. You will not get money for medication. So they are trying to bring in other income generating activities within the small plots of land, but also then you have to incorporate some trees in your small plots of land. And that's what we are doing. It's integrated, it's called integrated agroforestry. I want to thank you very much. Earlier on, Fatin told me I spent very few minutes because I told her I was preparing a presentation. So she told me you have very few minutes. I want to thank you. But I'll be in touch with every one of you who would want to get in touch with me. Thank you. I'll also share our social media and website on the chat. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Simon. That was really great. And you mentioned a lot about, co-designing and participation of the communities themselves and collaboration with other stakeholders, which I think that's the whole spirit that we have even here. We're just sharing this space, exchanging ideas and all. So thank you so much. Please, anyone, if you feel like you want to drop your email or your WhatsApp number, Telegram number, please feel free to do so on the chat box. I think this is a great platform that we can actually get to know each other. Does anyone have any questions for now? Okay, Gabriel, yes.
Hello, everyone. So I think this is a question actually for everyone that presented here today. You do agroforestry in different plots of land and different farmers, right? So are those plots they in any way near enough so corridor can be constructed? For example, because in the perspective of biodiversity, the plots, what's the most like better things to do in biodiversity when you try even biodiversity credits or other things is the connection of plots. Is the connection among, and doesn't mean that necessarily the connection has to be with trees, but are the plots near enough, for example, for bees and trees, are the plots near enough so the bees can go from one plot to the other? Is that a thing that can happen? Or the plots are so far away that connecting them in biodiversity or in trees is something, I don't know, impossible? Anyone can answer this.
Yeah, I will take it on. Maybe the others can also come after. So, Gabriel, if I took a picture, like a satellite image of this place, most likely it will look like a forest because these are rural areas. So there's not a lot of divisions. So it's mostly fields. So there is not a lot of separation. You have mainly gardens with a few households. So yeah, there's that connection in these areas.
Great, fantastic, fantastic. That's fantastic. I'm just like thinking. So we as GainForest can actually help even in that. So I'm just like working in my head on how could we do that.
Right. Thank you, Safa. If Simon or Jaya would like to add, if no, it's okay. Yeah, go on, Jaya.
Yeah, so it's not exactly this, but we've been working to pilot a project for eco corridors. So there's a area in India, in it's a state called Jharkhand, where due to urbanization, the forest is being fragmented, and because of that, a lot of wild animals like elephants and bears are coming very close to the settlements. So we plan to coexist, is what we're calling it, with the wildlife. So we are planning on making eco corridors to sort of keep track of the fragmentation and habitat connectivity. It's not exactly this, but I would like to add that.
Perfect. That's perfect. That's awesome. That's really good to know.
Right. Okay, thank you. If you have more questions, feel free to drop in the chat box. So I think this was supposed to be at the very beginning, but because of my device didn't work just now, but it worked now. I'm just gonna throw in some updates from GainForest. So number one, we just dropped a new blog post, which is basically our learnings, making crypto payments in the Philippines, especially with our community partner Oceanus Conservation. So thank you so much, Oceanus, for having us, hosting us in Bislik in Surigao del Sur in the Philippines. So it was really interesting. So please, if you haven't, you can go to our blog and read this particular post. And secondly was about Gabriel and Nina, who were at Blue Hacks last week, which is a hackathon. This is our very first time sponsoring a hackathon, especially in the South Asia region. And here's Nina and Gabriel online. And there were like quite a lot of them, around 100 undergraduate students, and they are part of. I mean, it was hosted by the Computer Society of the Ateneo University in Manila in the Philippines. So yeah, that's a great experience for our team. And another exciting um, announcement would be regarding the hypersets, which we have been talking about, from our previous calls. And thank you so much for these eight community partners who actually um, brave enough to do our very very first hypersets, and being I mean, their hypersets were actually publicized in the marketplace called EcoCertain, and we actually got a buyer, which is Cello. They have decided to distribute 2,175 cello, which is around $800 dollars to each of these projects. So congrats. We're still waiting for the funds to be distributed. But this is like the opportunity in the future for other community partners as well, which you can utilize hypercerts to actually, like kind of like package your a project, the impact that you have done last year, for example, as a hyperset, so that people can actually buy or some portions of your hyperset. So congratulations to these eight groups, and the other groups, the other projects. Please feel free to reach out to me if you are also interested with hypersets. Right. On that note, I would like to also just mention or kind of like summarize as well the funding opportunities that we have been talking about, even from our previous calls. External, we have GeekCon grants. We've talked about GeekCon grants, and even some of us here have actually become like grantees. So great. It hasn't opened yet, like the new cycle, but if they've opened, we will give you an alert on this. And we also are introducing Giveth, which is basically like GoFundMe but crypto based. So this is another crypto based crowdfunding platform that you can also try, and you can register anytime. So feel free to reach out to me if you would like me to do like one-to-one session with you, so I can go through the steps. And I also have like a written guide that you can actually check out and try. And then internally, of course, we have the hypersales that I've talked about. And then thankfully, our eight of our community partners will be receiving some portion or some funding from Celo. So it's a high impact certificates, and you can actually sell the hypersets so that you can fund your next impact, right? So another new thing that we also want to introduce to you today is called the GainForest Nature Guild. Like, this is very very new, and essentially a nature guild is like a collaborative effort, because today we've been talking a lot about collaboration. So I think this is like I mean, in spirit of collaboration, this is nature guild, which is a collaborative effort where it will take all of us to support each other, and also find some ways on how we can access some funds together. So right now we are going as an entity. We are GainForest Community Partner, and we will try to get some funds, and we will share these funds together. So a nature guild basically is like a shared piggy bank. So, for example, this is our piggy bank. So I will put my name, and Gabriel will put his name, David will put his name, Sharfi will put her name. So that means this is all our piggy bank together. So whenever we have funders and they give us some donations, for example, this donation will be split equally. So Gabriel, for example, we get 300, Gabriel will get 100, Sharfi will get 100, I will get 100, for example. So this shared piggy bank will be distributed equally, or will be split equally, and each of us can get some funds within 3 months, every 3 months. But it also depends if you are active or not. But it's really easy to be active, honestly. Number one, you just attend this kind of community calls that we do, and you can do whatever that you are already doing on the ground, which is, I bet there's a lot of things that you're doing on the ground right now with a lot of your projects. Another extra thing would be just, updating us. For example, hey, this is our project. Or you can even tweet or write a blog post about a particular project that you have done, and you just can send us that updates. So it shows that you have done something. Or if you have data related project that you are collecting biodiversity data, for example, which is also could be part of you being active, and then you will be eligible to get some funds from this shared piggy bank that we have, which is called the Nature Guild, right? So that's the whole idea, and just a summary of how it works. So it's very easy. The only thing that you need is a MetaMask wallet, which is a crypto wallet. That's it. So next week or even like tomorrow, I will start asking people like, hey, shall we create a MetaMask wallet so you could, be part of this piggy bank, this Nature Guild. So yeah, I will reach out to you. But essentially, you just need a MetaMask wallet and you just need a wallet address. So for those who already have one, I can already onboard you into Nature Guild. But basically, I would just like register you into this piggy bank. So whenever we have any funds from donors, it will go to this piggy bank, and you can just send us updates via WhatsApp, and you can attend this kind of community calls, for example. And then every 3 months, the funds will be distributed equally to everyone that has been registered into this like piggy bank, right? So just a bit of I just like to notify you that onboarding will happen very soon, and I'm very excited to have all of you on board. So we can see that right now we kind of like have like multiple ways of funding opportunities to get some funding, which I believe a lot of us are relying on traditional funding, like through grants, like big grants from universities, for example, or even from the government, right? So all these like funding opportunities in the Web3 ecosystem can be like a extra thing, or like an alternative, or some like a way for you to diversify uh, how you get funding for your organization. Yes, I think that's it. If you have any questions regarding this or regarding our previous sessions on agroforestry, please feel free to raise your hand or just unmute yourself. Anyone have any questions before we end the session? Right, Simon. Yeah, Simon and Sakwa, please.
Fatina, I was just wondering if it is okay for us to add hypersats on our website as a product, because we have coffee, we have honey. I'm wondering if we can add hypersats, something like that.
Yes, yes. Actually, anything is possible with Hyperset. You can just package it, like how many beehives, for example, how many people that you have helped supported, for example. So yeah, we can definitely talk more about creating more hypersets in the future. So just reach out to me.
Yes, for me, I'm referring to Gabi's presentation, the very first presentation. I must say I want to thank him because it was very interesting how you used animal movement patterns to as early warning systems. So I'm just asking him if he could share the presentation.
Sure, my brother. Thank you so much for the comment. Of course, I can share this. Just so you know, this never have been tried before. So these are the things that start changes like this, starting groups like this, but never been done before. Just letting you know. But if anyone wants to embark this boat, I'm on it. We can work together. I will send you through to WhatsApp. It's okay.
Very fine. Thank you.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody. Anyone has any last words, or you would like to maybe introduce yourself if you're new to this community call, for example? Anyone? Or feel free to drop your contacts in the chat box. Okay, we have 1 minute left. Anyone? Right. Hello, Sophia. No problem. Nice to see you. Right. I think that's it for our community call this month. Thank you so much for being here. And I think this session has been really, really great because there's a lot of, talk about collaboration, which is, I think that's the whole spirit of this network. So please feel free to also send your details or, about yourself in the group so that other people can also reach out to you if We don't have anything else. Thank you so much. I will see you next month. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Hi everyone. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye.